homeopathy for over 45 years across the country and across the globe. I mean, it's in true sense a truly global medicine brand from India with over 200 centers in 7 countries, and that's like quite an achievement. He has treated, listen to me very carefully, he's treated over 1.5 million patients, which includes various prime ministers, presidents, sports people, artists, and of course, most importantly, the common man. So that's Dr. Batra. He's also recipient of various awards and accolades, which are again global. He's a recipient of 𝗙𝗵𝗶 as well as the 𝗙𝗵𝗲 International Award. Dr. Batra is currently the Chair for Health and Fitness of Indian Merchant Chambers and also co-chair for Ayush for the CII. One thing that we don't know about him, I think many people here do not know the fact that Dr. Batra is also a very avid photographer. In fact, more than avid photographer. And probably I'll have to convince him to do a book now on photography, which should happen soon. Primarily his photography is towards philanthropic causes, so which helps, he does various exhibitions, which, supports work of various NGOs, including the Red Cross. He also operates over 175 clinics, which are free homeopathy clinics, which, help people from the lower strata of society to get access to homeopathy. So that's Dr. Batra for you, and here we are to celebrate his 8th book. So that's what we are. So can I have a big applause for him?
Thank you, Anish.
I also have a few questions to ask him. So we'll quickly just ask these questions, and of course then we'll open up to you to ask more questions to Dr. Batra. But one of the things that always kind of I was very curious to ask is the fact that Dr. Batra, there is, when we talk of alternative forms of medicine, there is a lot of things about homeopathy, but there is also a lot of talk about Ayurveda, naturopathy, Unani medicine, Chinese medicine, and various other forms. So, while you are a homeopathic expert, have the other alternative forms influenced you in some way, and have they kind of been part of your treatment plan?
Thank you, Manish. It was Shakespeare who said, "What's in a name?" And but try to call your girlfriend a swampy gen, and you know what you're going to get. So I think to buy peace with traditional medicine practitioners, I'm calling them traditional because that's the kind of main branch of medicine today. Homeopathy is now not called alternative medicine, but called complementary medicine all over the world. So it actually complements mainstream medicine. And in complementary medicine, there are so many different branches like Ayush. And unfortunately, because we have a government which is very fond of acronyms, Ayush, H comes right at the end. So Ayush stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. But having said that, it may come at the end of the acronym, but it's actually the second largest system of medicine in the world. And it's also the third largest in India, after Ayurveda and after, modern medicine, if you call that. Siddha is very, very popular in Tamil Nadu and in South India. And of course, Ayurveda we know is very popular also in terms of 𝗙TC medicines. And with all the Veds over here, we have also Ved here as well. And we have 𝗵𝗵𝗶 here as well. So we have, it's just very popular, and of course we have Ramdev Baba, how can I forget that? Who also kind of made it popular. But the good thing about homeopathy is, which a lot of people don't know, is it's been clubbed with traditional medicine. But actually it's a German science. It came to India through the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh in Punjab, he had a sore throat, he actually had paralysis of the vocal cord. And he was given a single dose of a homeopathic medicine called 𝗪𝗪. And after taking that medicine, he could speak. Otherwise, he had lost his voice. So this was really the introduction of homeopathy into India. And he was then asked to stay back who was an Austrian doctor. And then, of course, they popularized homeopathy. And now, of course, it's part of Ayush, which is about 8 years, ago this happened. And the only thing, Indian about homeopathy is that it has the largest number of followers in the world. 10 crore patients use homeopathy for their day-to-day problems in India. It also has the largest number of homeopathic students in the world. Sorry, homeopathic doctors in the world. That's 200,000. And it also has the largest number of medical colleges, homeopathic colleges, 135, including post-graduation college. And almost 15,000 new doctors pass out every year. So it's a very, very large canvas of homeopathic practitioners and homeopathic followers in India, among the largest in the world.
So,
I believe in only practicing what I know very well and what I'm good at doing. So I don't dabble with other systems of medicine. Okay, I believe in perfecting my own. Having said that, I have a very curious mind, and I always like to experiment any other system of medicine, because I believe that every system of medicine has its own, goodness. And I always say this as a kind of a little joke, when I say whether it's, allopathy, homeopathy, or 𝗙𝗵𝗲, whatever works for you. Okay, and so it's worth trying anything that that works for you. So I've experimented with lots of other system of medicine as well, to the extent that I actually had even 40 needles put into my eyes to experience acupuncture. So that's how it works, and so I'm a learner, and I learn all the time. And I believe that if one is on a learning curve, that's how one grows. And like I said, any system of medicine is really not complete by itself, and it needs to be supported. I think whatever works for the patient is what works for you.
so yeah, that's
There are many myths, and I don't want to talk about it now because then nobody will read the book. And I remember a very interesting story. When I started, publishing my book 3 years ago, I did a little research on it, and I was told that among the cities where people read, you have Delhi, where the largest number of people buy books but they don't read them, and you have Calcutta, where the least number of people buy the books, but the maximum number of people read them. So, that's really about it. So I just don't want people to buy the book, I want you to read it. So I'm not going to bust all the myths, but I just want to maybe one or two very quick ones.
yes, absolutely.
So the first, of course, is people say homeopathy is slow. And I just want to say that everything in life is relative. And this really happens because lots of people who come for homeopathic treatment come at the last stage, they come at a late stage, and they really come for chronic problems. So if you have an acute problem, you can get on it in a few days' time, even in a few hours' time, like a cold or a cough or something like that. But if you have a chronic cough and you've got a chronic problem, it then takes a long time. So I would, because it goes to the root of the problem. And whenever you're treating holistically, it always takes a little long time. And also whenever you're treating from the root of the problem, it takes a little longer, because you need to understand the human being as a whole. And that's very, very important. So you need to also understand environment, you need to understand social issues that may precipitate the problem. And I always use this as a benchmark. I just say if you're suffering from a chronic problem for say 15 years, I mean at least give 1 month for every year of treatment. So if you're suffering from 15 years, at least give 15 months for your treatment to work. And I must say this, that unfortunately today, thanks to Dr. Google, lots of patients are very impatient, and they don't actually wait and continue with the treatment till they get well. So I think if you persevere, and I also find there's a lot of pressure today. I mean today what happens is, because of Dr. WhatsApp, if I may say, sorry I'm talking about too many doctors, but if you talk about Dr. WhatsApp again, there's so many pressures, saying that try this medicine, this is very good, this treatment works very well, try this 𝗂𝗽𝗓, try this, all of that. And really all of that doesn't always work, but people get impatient, and therefore they keep trying something or the other. And I think in that they lose sight of a long-term solution, which would really have cured them from the root and permanently treated them to get well. So I think this is one myth. The second one is of course that homeopathy makes the problem worse. I mean this is really crazy, because if you have 101 fever and you've got 104, then that means the disease is spreading, nothing is happening to the medicine, and again, this is only by exception, and it happens in two cases. One is in the case of elimination, and second in the case of suppression. Let me explain this very quickly. For example, if you have a sinus problem, which is for many, many years, a chronic sinusitis, if you take homeopathic treatment, maybe your cold gets worse for the first few days. This is nature's way of kind of expelling all the toxins from the body. So there's really, and then you're actually, your sinuses will get light and your headaches will disappear. And similarly in the case of suppression. So for example, if you've got a skin problem and you're using an ointment and you stop using the ointment, then the possibility is that the skin problem will become worse. It's nothing to do with homeopathy. So it's again an elimination of the toxin from the body. So these are the only two kind of rare cases in which homeopathy kind of aggravates the problem before it cures it. In all other cases, the result is immediate and it's very quick. Again by work, because we spend a lot of our time at work. And I did research on this and I actually found that one of the commonest reasons for stress at work is your immediate boss. So if your immediate boss is a good guy like me, I mean, ask Lisa here, she's been 22 years with me, then you are kind of okay. But if you have a very tough, immediate boss, your life is miserable. Because every day when you go to office, you actually get the Monday morning blues. Okay? So that's one part. The second part is, also when you're getting to work. Today, unfortunately, traveling to work is also very stressful. So you know how long it took a lot of you to come here. And I'm most grateful that you're all here today. But, I landed yesterday and it took me 3.5 hours to reach from the airport to my hotel in South Delhi. So, it is stressful. I know there's a lot of road rage now. There's a lot of people who kind of actually kill you on the roadside. There are people who honk unnecessarily. There are people who cut like that. So all of this causes you stress. So even when you're going to work, and of course if you're traveling by public transport, it's even worse. So stress is there even while traveling. Similarly, there's stress also at home. I'm saying, look at the amount of domestic violence, look at the amount of capability between partners, compatibility between partners. So stress is here to stay. And I would just say that homeopathy, because it's holistic medicine, is very good for psychosomatic problems. So problems that arise from stress are easily treated with homeopathy because it's holistic. Let me give you another example. For example, irritable bowel syndrome. What will happen is it's a problem with the stomach and you get frequent motions. And therefore what happens is that you will just go to a gastroenterologist. But you don't realize that your irritable bowel movement is because of irritability of your colon, because of the stress that you're getting. And therefore, you're not treating it holistically. So you actually need to go to a gastroenterologist, plus you also need to go to a psychiatrist, or you need to go to a counselor to get that sorted out. When you take homeopathy medicine, you're just going to one doctor and you're being treated holistically. And that's how then you treat it from the root.
So, another interesting aspect is that, immunity is the buzzword these days, after COVID. And one aspect that homeopathy, not many people know about is the fact that can you use homeopathy to improve yourself rather than, work on a disease or treat a disease? So like, for example, can homeopathy make a cricketer a better batsman or a gymnast a more agile gymnast? Do those kind of things exist?
Well, I would say yes and no. First of all, yes, because homeopathy has been proven from time immemorial to work in the case of preventive medicine. It's something which is not accepted and recognized as much, but it's been there all along. So for example, when we had the Spanish flu in 1900, early 19th century, 1920, the results with traditional medicine, I call it again traditional medicine because that is what it was at that time, there was a mortality rate of 30%. When homeopathy was used, the mortality rate was down to 1%. Okay, so that's from time immemorial. Now this example I'm giving you like 100 years ago. Okay. Then you come a little closer. Okay. You had leptospirosis in Cuba. Again, a homeopathic medicine we use as a preventive, and it worked very well. Also, when you come to closer to home, we've had Andhra Pradesh government and we've had the Uttar Pradesh government actually using 𝗙𝗏 very, very successfully as a preventive for Japanese encephalitis. So lots of kids died because of brain fever, and homeopathy, I would say 1 billion doses were given in Andhra Pradesh. Not a single child developed Japanese encephalitis. Now these are all recorded, statements which are there for everybody to see. Similarly, when we come to COVID, which is still there and not really totally gone, but hopefully at the ebb now, homeopathy has been used as a preventive. 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗵 has been given. My company has donated 2 crore worth of homeopathic medicines free of charge. We treated the entire Maharashtra police force and their families, completely free during COVID. And we distributed it to also a lot of the NGOs and things like that. So there's been a research which has also been conducted by the Gujarat government, where they again gave 6,000 patients this medicine, and not a single one of them developed COVID. So there's kind of research that is being done in this, and it's actually effective. So as far as the use of homeopathy in infectious disease is concerned, I think it's very useful. I think lots of more people need to use it, and there needs to be a greater awareness for this happening. And look at the cost difference. I'm saying you're spending billions of dollars and crores of rupees in doing something like that. And the homeopathic medicine, 𝗏𝗏, when it was given, for Japanese healthcare medicine cost just 1 rupee. That's the difference. So I would really urge that governments and the state governments, central governments should actually use homeopathy more often to actually better society, in a very cheap and kind of cost-effective way. Answering your second question now, homeopathy actually believes that it has a different concept of health. So what we believe is, we believe that if you're truly healthy, then you have to be very balanced as far as your mental health, emotional health, even spiritual health, I would say, and physical health. Now, in order for that to happen, you should be able to put out whatever your individual capacity is. So, for example, if you're capable of putting out 100 units of work or 100 units of concentration while I'm talking to you, you have to make sure that you're able to put that. If you're today putting only 60 units, then according to me, you're a diseased person. So, up to your individual capacity, whatever it is, because for every person is different. If you can reach that capacity, so you can't score a century if you're just capable of scoring 20 runs. But if you're capable of scoring 20 runs, you don't get out for a duck. That's what homeopathy can do for you.
Okay, so that's like really matter. How did you manage to create such a good, very nice international imprint? Many brands, many brand managers, they struggle to create that. And
so I'm a very, very good partner who lives upstairs. So like you said, that God takes care of everything. Nothing in my life has been planned. Everything has been as I went along. I think the basic thing is that whatever I've done with great sincerity, with great honesty, and with great determination. And great courage, yes. And wherever I've gone, it's not been easy. Particularly international countries, as you said, when I went to launch my clinic in Mauritius, I invited the Vice President to inaugurate it. And he said on the phone, yes, he'll be very happy to do it. And when I went there, he blasted me and he said, I'll put you behind bars, because homeopathy is not recognized in my country and it's illegal. And so I set up a clinic and absolutely ready, but I didn't open the clinic. And I kept going every weekend at my cost and sitting outside the health minister and the prime minister and the president's house and office until it took me 6 months until homeopathy got recognized. So like this, there are lots of kind of stories of effort, patience that I actually put in. It's not easy. Let me tell you that every country has its own rules, it has its own regulations. It has a lot of protocols which need to be followed. We are on Hari Street for the last 15 years. We are the only Indian company over there in London. We are in Dubai healthcare city for more than 15 years. There are very strict protocols over there, and I'm happy to tell you that all our audits have been perfect. We haven't failed a single audit in 15 years. Now that really speaks about the processes, systems, and the effort that we put in whatever we do. So if you have a strong base, I think you can then grow and fly. Like I said, lots of psychosomatic problems, lot of chronic problems, allergies, arthritis, these kind of things, lifestyle problems, what I call NCDs, which are non-communicable disorders. Homeopathy is extremely good.
Cancer?
So certain kinds of cancers, yes, and certain kinds of cancers, no. But a lot more research has to be done.
Dr. Mukesh, thank you very much, and I congratulate you for writing this homeopathy book, Simple Remedies for All Age Groups. The system is popular, and because of it, minimal side effects.
Thank you very much. May I now request Honorable Chief Guest to say a few words. Thank you.
very happy and honored to be here. I'm actually just pinch hitting to Dr. 𝗙𝗄𝗃, so I wasn't supposed to make a speech. But I know that homeopathy works for the simple reason that it put the hair back on my head. Dr. Batra's magic remedies and a combination of all his products made sure that I still look like a human being. And what we need is now homeopathy to pose as something that makes you lose weight. So that would make it instantly #1 medicine in the world. But it makes no fake claims at all. It's very discreet and it's an elegant form. One of the reasons why perhaps we take it less seriously is because the medicines taste so sweet. And we're used to having allopathic medicines which make us feel bad, look bad, and taste bad. So we take sweet things less seriously. But of course, it works just as well and makes it easier to swallow. I would like to thank you all for coming. Dr. Batra is a serious writer. He knows his subject. He tries to make it as simple as possible for everyone. And Dr. Batra की जो नई किताब है होम्योपैथी के बारे में, उसका उद्घाटन मैं कर रही हूँ। ये होम्योपैथी काम करती है, मैं इस्तेमाल करती हूँ, बहुत लोग जो मैं जानती हूँ इस्तेमाल करते हैं और बहुत फ़ायदे में रहता है। और ख़ास करके हमारे जानवर जो हैं, कुछ ऐसे दवाइयाँ हैं जो बीमारियाँ हैं जो एलोपैथी में कोई काम आते नहीं। मिसाल डिस्टेम्पर, जिसमें हम लोग होम्योपैथी इस्तेमाल करते हैं, उसका बहुत फ़ायदा होता है। तो मैं खुश हूँ कि और लोगों को इसके बारे में पता चले।
मैम, आप खुद होम्योपैथी में विश्वास करती हैं, क्या मानती हैं रिजल्ट कैसे रहते हैं?
देखिए, होम्योपैथी एलोपैथी की तरह है, कभी काम करता है, कभी नहीं भी करता है। लेकिन इतना मुझे मालूम है कि ओवरऑल वेलबीइंग में होम्योपैथी काम करता है। और जैसे मैंने अभी कहा कि खास करके जानवरों पर बहुत जल्दी काम करता है।
आपको लगता है इंडिया में अवेयरनेस अभी भी बहुत कम है, जबकि इंडिया को इसमें आगे होना चाहिए?
हाँ, अवेयरनेस कम नहीं है, लेकिन सरकार जो है उसको बहुत हल्केपन से लेती है। अब जैसे कि मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में होम्योपैथिक सेंटर जो है वो टूटा फूटा है, उसका छत गिर जाएगा, दवाइयाँ ठीक से नहीं रखी जाएंगी। तो अगर सरकार उसको ठीक से ले तो इसका बहुत फ़ायदा होगा।
क्या मैम आपको लगता है कि सरकार इसको सीरियसली नहीं ले रही?
फ़िलहाल तो कम सीरियसली लेती है, हालांकि सबसे ज़्यादा होम्योपैथ तो हिंदुस्तान में ही है, तो कभी ना कभी तो ये ऊपर उठेगा।
की पॉइंट्स तो यह है कि इस किताब में जो है बचपन से लेकर बुढ़ापे तक जो बीमारियां होती हैं उसका इलाज लिखा गया है और बहुत सरल तरीके से लिखा गया है। इसलिए इस किताब का नाम है सिंपल रेमेडीज़ फॉर ऑल एजेस। तो अगर आप बचपन की बात कर रहे हैं या बुढ़ापे की बात कर रहे हैं और बीच में अगर आप प्रेगनेंसी की बात कर रहे हैं, औरतों की बीमारियों की बात कर रहे हैं या वर्किंग लोगों की बात कर रहे हैं, सब इसके इलाज जो है वो होम्योपैथी में बहुत सरल तरीके से लिखे गए हैं।
सर, मेनका गांधी जी आज आप बुक लॉन्च में आई हैं, क्या आप समझते हैं कि कितना फ़ायदा मिलेगा इस बुक को प्रमोट होने में? कि मेनका जी मुझे अपने आप में बहुत होम्योपैथी में बिलीव करते हैं।
ज़रूर, क्योंकि मेनका जी जो हैं शी इज़ एन आइकॉन बाय सेल्फ और इतने लोग हैं जो उनको चाहते हैं और उनसे प्रेम करते हैं। और क्योंकि उन्होंने ये बुक लॉन्च करी है, मैं मानता हूँ कि ज़्यादा लोग इसे पढ़ेंगे और होम्योपैथी की जो मान्यता है वो और बढ़ेगी।
सर, आपने बहुत होम्योपैथी के लिए लड़ाई लड़ी है और बहुत आगे तक आप आए हैं, आपने एक्सपीरियंस भी शेयर किया। तो क्या लगता है कि इंडिया में भी अभी अवेयरनेस कम है इसके लिए और सरकार को भी कुछ स्टेप्स उठाने चाहिए?
जी हाँ, मैं मानता हूँ कि पिछले 8 सालों में जो है आयुष मंत्रालय हो गया है और फॉर्म हुआ है और उसकी वजह से कुछ तो हुआ है होम्योपैथी में भी, पर और होना बहुत बाकी है। और मैं चाहता हूँ कि इसमें जो है और हमें जो है गवर्नमेंट का सपोर्ट होना चाहिए और इससे और आगे बढ़ना चाहिए।